Strange but true stories. Tales from the light side, the dark side, and the other side. I'm Steve White. The Blue Box. Back in 2013, I was a single mom and had just moved to a townhouse with my 7-year-old daughter. I was divorced and my husband and I had joint custody of our daughter, so she would stay with her father every other week. When this strange thing happened to me, my daughter was with my ex-husband and I was alone at my new place. Around 6 p.m. I got home from work, I took a shower, and I remember specifically that I had a leftover salad for dinner, and I decided to curl up with a book downstairs. I read for a long time that night, which was not unusual. When my daughter was not around, it allowed me a chance to really catch up on my reading. Around 9:45 that night, I figured it was time to go to bed because I needed to get up early to go to work the next day. Before heading upstairs for bed, I grabbed a cold glass of water from the faucet and went to the bathroom to brush my teeth. I put the glass down on the counter while I prepared for bed. Once my teeth were nice and clean, my face washed, and I had my comfy PJs on, I went to climb into bed, but before I could get there, I remembered my glass of water I had poured for myself before coming upstairs. So I turned back to the bathroom to grab my water. Surprisingly, when I grabbed the cup, it was so hot, it nearly burnt my hands. I realized it immediately, of course, but I stared at the glass wondering how it could have gotten so hot. I couldn't think of any logical explanation, and even if I had poured hot water into the glass, it wouldn't have been that hot. Checking again and doubting myself a little about what I had just witnessed or felt, I stuck my finger inside the glass to check the temperature of the water itself, and I pulled my finger out of the glass immediately. It was extremely hot, as if I had boiled water for tea. I poured the water down the drain, and I went back downstairs to get another glass of water. I went to bed that night trying to figure out what had just happened, but I couldn't find the answer. I don't sleep in complete darkness. I always leave the bathroom light on, so my bedroom still gets a little bit of light from it. A few hours later, I woke up in the middle of the night to experience something else unusual. I awoke to see a clear-shaped square box hovering about 30 centimeters from my face. The box had a 3D clear blue square, and I could see the edges so perfectly. I stared for like 20 to 25 seconds, thinking to myself, what is this? Obviously, something this foreign and so close to my face, I started to feel afraid. It was very blue on the edges, very defined edges, and inside it was a clear light. It was blue. I could see right through the shape so perfectly. It hovered for a little bit longer and then suddenly disappeared. I looked at the clock and it was 3:15 a.m. I managed to fall back to sleep a little later, but when I woke up in the morning, I had a clear memory of it and thought about it for most of the day. I was not sure if I really should share that story with anyone, so I kept it to myself. Heck, if I told anybody about it, they'd just think I had taken a trip to Crazy Town or something. The next night, I was a little apprehensive about going to bed, thinking about seeing the object again. Sure enough, I woke up in the middle of the night again to see the same 3D clear blue square shape hovering just above my face. And this time I stared at it for quite a while, and the fear I initially felt slipped away, and I became more curious, and I had a feeling of awe. I decided to try to touch it. I wanted to prove it to myself if it was real or imaginary, I suppose. But as I got closer to touching it, it disappeared. I looked at the clock again, and it was 3:30 a.m. Was something wrong with my brain? Something wrong with me? Was I crazy? The same thing happened the following night, and then stopped for a few days. I became afraid to go to sleep. The object didn't seem to be menacing, but it was just the fear of the unknown. What is it? What's it doing here? I was afraid to open my eyes at night. Well, that Friday I had to pick up my daughter. It was my week to have her, and so I picked her up. We went to the park, we got some ice cream, and then we decided to go home. Well, the night came and went, and I started to feel afraid and worried. I thought about calling a friend to share this experience, but I didn't. So my daughter and I went to bed around 9:45, and I read my daughter a few pages of her favorite book, and then we both drifted off to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night again, but I didn't immediately open my eyes. I was afraid to open my eyes. I just felt that it was going to be right there. And when I finally mustered the courage to open my eyes, I was right. But instead of it hovering over me, it was hovering about 40 to 50 centimeters from my daughter's face. I leaned forward, put my elbows down, and stared at this thing for a few seconds, and it just kept hovering. I could see it's a perfect shape. Of course, as a mom, I started to have thoughts that it was going to harm my daughter, so I reached out for it, and again it disappeared. I sat up in the bed and tried to come up with an explanation, any kind of explanation, to where this thing had come from and why I was seeing it over and over and over again. I looked at the clock, and it was, once again, 3:25 a.m. I started to think maybe it's a ghost messing with me. I thought maybe someone was projecting something into my mind or into the room, or I was going crazy. So many questions, no answers. That was the last time I saw the blue square, though. But I wondered, what if I stared at it longer? What if I had tried to get a response from it? What if I didn't get afraid? What if? I still wake up in the middle of the night wondering if the 3D clear blue square shape was going to be hovering above my head. And I believe this all started with that hot glass of water that I still can't explain. I feel apprehensive because I can't explain any of this. This has been another strange but true stories. So, what do you think? Anybody have any insight on any of these three stories? Similar stories, different people, over a span of many years, different parts of the country. So tell us and them what you think in the comments below. And if you have a story you'd like to share with us, send it to us in an email to strangebutTrueStories2@gmail.com. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you'd like to support us in another way, we are now on Patreon. A link to sign up is provided in the story description. Thanks for all the support and all those who have signed up with Patreon so far, and thanks for watching this video. I'm Steve White. Until next time.